Hello my friends, welcome to or back to the channel. I am Mars, this is the Starlit Library. I'm very happy to have you here, especially for today's video, because we are going to talk about the best readathon in the existence of BookTube, and that is the Magical Readathon. Unfamiliar with the Magical Readathon, it is a lot to explain, but I will put up the link to the original video by the creator G at Book Roast, and it is basically you creating a character, like a role-playing game, where you are a magical character that goes to a magical school, and you have to complete prompts. You have to read books that complete prompts that are from a list of your calling, which is what you are studying. I've been participating in this for the past 4 years, but this is my 4th year, which means I am graduating this year. And this year she also, the creator, also added the ability to have higher callings after you finish your first 4 years, which I'm really excited to be able to do next year. And if you saw my TBR videos for this readathon last year, I did try to attempt to do 2 callings at once. My main calling that I've been doing for these 4 years is a mind mender, so I'm kind of like the psychologist of this magical world, which is very fitting for me. But last year I also wanted to try and do the prompts for Rift Architect, which just sounded really cool, kind of just like the architect for like the magical portals and stuff, but that was way too many different prompts and books that I was not able to complete that at all. But I am still interested in also like doing a different calling, and so I don't know if I would like create a different character or just keep my same character. Maybe I'll do a different character. My character that I've been playing as is Malamir Blackfire. This is a character that I've played a D&D campaign with my friends, and so I figured I would just like reuse that same character. But I will be starting a new D&D campaign with a whole different group of friends, and so I am going to be creating a different character for that. So maybe my new character can do this new calling, because instead of Rift Architect, which I am still interested in, but like there's an Eldia excavationist, and Eldia is like the name of the world. It focuses a lot on like history and the animals of the world and restoration and preservation, and especially with my love for like dinosaurs and natural history and animals, I feel like this would kind of be perfect for me, and there's not too many prompts to complete. So I feel like I'm ready to take on the challenge this year, and I feel a bit more confident that I would actually be able to pass these classes. Also, I hope you appreciate my little kind of magical makeup that I did today. One of my goals for this year is to do more fun makeup, and so I'm really trying to channel that, especially for this Magical Readathon. So this is a readathon that has prompts that you can complete all year long, but the main like readathon events are a spring semester and a fall semester. But then there is also another like Year of Eldia challenge where G created kind of like a game board where you can complete prompts by going on a little adventure. It was also created so that you can like reuse it and go on a different like pathway. So this is the board. I'm going to jump right into the prompts, and I'm so excited. Let's get into my Mind Mender Spring Equinox prompts. So as a mind mender, I need to complete 5 different classes. The first one is alchemy, and the prompt for this is a reread. If you watch my 26 and 26 books video, then you would have heard me go on this spiel, but I've never reread a book before, and I still can't really make up my mind if I want to or not. But if I do, that book would be Nevernights by J. Kristoff. This was my favorite book of 2024. I think I finished it either in April or May of 2024, and I still haven't gotten to God's Grave. So I kind of do feel like going back into this beautiful, bloody world and re-experiencing it before getting into God's Grave, but I'm also still not really sure if I want to. Like, I feel like the conundrum I have is that why would I spend the same time reading a book that I've already read when there's so much that I haven't read that I would like to use that time to read. If I start with this and it's too like confusing and I feel like I didn't really pick up or remember a lot of the details, I might reread, but this is still something I have not made up my mind on. Because of that, I think I might want to choose a different prompt just to be safe. And so the great thing about this readathon, it's very flexible, it's very personal, and G also created this whole thing called the Guild Emporium, where you gain points from a lot of different things, from like reading these books during different semesters, as well as if you join sprints and she like spins the wheel for different prompts that give you points. It's so much fun. This readathon is so much fun. There are like scrolls that you can buy so that you can change around the prompts and kind of just pick what prompt works best for you. And so I think I'm gonna do that. So the prompt that I want to choose instead is Artificery, and the prompt for this is to roll a d6 for a series. So for the number of books in a series, if that makes sense. So if I get a 2, I need to read the second book in a series up to number 6. So I don't think I have any series where I'm up to number 6 in the series, but we will see. And I also wanted to use this opportunity to show you a crochet project. Please just stick around, this will be worth your time. I have a whole set of dice, and so I needed some place to put all of them, and I saw this crochet pattern like a while ago that I've really been wanting to make, and so I finally made it, and it is a little whale shark. I still haven't put the like white dots on it, but oh my god, are you fucking kidding me? This is the cutest thing I've ever created. One of them, actually. I've created quite a few cutie patooties. And so, you know, it opens, and then here's all my... It ate shiny rocks, and it's just like, you know, it eats the shiny rocks, and it's just like the funnest thing. Yeah, anyways. I hope you appreciated that, because I fucking love this guy. So, I am going to roll a d6 right now, my super shiny, super pretty die, and we'll see. I'm kind of nervous. I'm kind of hoping for a 4. Oh, fuck, I got 2. Okay, so, like, that could be any number of things. Oh my god. I was hoping for a 4 because I wanted to put Iron Gold on this TBR, because I did not really get to that this month. But a number 2 could be literally fucking anything. These are, like, some of the series that I'm in the middle of, and these are, like, manga and novellas. Oh boy. So I'm gonna need some time to figure this out. So the next class I need to complete is Spells and Incantations, and the prompt for this is a book that's currently on a bestseller list. And I'm not really a big follower of bestseller lists, but as soon as I saw the announcement video for these prompts, I went and I had a little gander to see what was on the list. I went to, I think, Barnes & Noble's, which was talking about the New York Times bestsellers list, and there were a few nonfiction that I'm interested in. I really haven't been keeping up with the nonfiction reads that I want to read this year, so I figured it would be nice to pick one from here. So my options here are Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Kemmerer. There's On Tyranny. I don't know who the author is, but this of course talks about fascism and tyranny, and I think would be a very interesting read. There was also Black AF History, which is pretty long, I think, and I feel like that would be a book that I want to take a lot more time with. I feel like with this readathon, this is something where like I want to be able to finish books within a certain time period, so I don't really want to put books where I feel like I need a lot more like attention and care and actually want to like write down this information and in a way kind of like study it. I feel like that would be something a bit more long term, so I wouldn't really put that book on this list, but that was on the bestseller list. I think the lists have changed at this time, so this was from last week. There was also All About Love by Bell Hooks. I've been yearning to read a Bell Hooks for a long time. And within the fiction section, the ones that I was interested in were Project Hail Mary and Dungeon Crawler Carl. I don't know why, I just haven't really been all that interested in like Project Hail Mary, even though everyone talks about that being one of the best books, especially for like beginner sci-fi. I don't know, like, I don't really know if I'm interested in it. I can maybe try, but it was like never really on my like immediate TBR or radar. So honestly, I feel like from this list, I might be leaning more towards On Tyranny. So I think that's what I'm gonna put for this. The next class I have to take is Psionics and Divination, and the prompt for this is a book with the word time in the title. But I think I'm going to narrow it down to two different options. We have A Tale for the Time Being by Ruth Ozeki, or A Time for Change by Robert Silverberg. And this one is one that I have never heard of before, and it's I think from the 80s or something, maybe even before that. And it really ties in some like similar themes as A Memory Called Empire, which I was inspired to read from reading Babel 17 by Samuel R. Delany. So I think it's more related to Samuel Delany's work, because this talks a bit about like aliens and alien language and the use of like I and you and me, and how that really like shapes your perception of people and the environment and etc. So this one just seemed really odd and really interesting. And A Tale for the Time Being is a literary book, I believe, and Ruth Ozeki, I really wanted to read her other book called A Long Form of Emptiness or something, but this one just sounds really sweet but also really heartbreaking, where someone discovers a Hello Kitty lunchbox that has washed up on the shore of the beach, and inside it is kind of like a time capsule of like a little girl's memories, I think. And I think it follows a couple different perspectives, and I don't really remember much else about the synopsis, but it seems like it would be really sad. I think this is like my official pick for this class. Next class is Restoration, and the prompt for this is to ask people for their 5-star reads or their recommendations and to pick one of those. And so I put up a little questionnaire on my Instagram story just for my private one for my friends, and I got back quite a number of different recommendations, but I think the main one that I'm interested in is a book called Sphinx by Anne Garetta, and this is like a love story, but it's genderless, and it also kind of talks about the use of language. I'd never heard of this before, but it was a recommendation from a very dear friend of mine, and it says this was written by Anne Garetta, one of the few female members of Oulipo, the influential and exclusive French experimental literary group whose mission is to create literature based on mathematical and linguistic restraints, and whose ranks include George Perec and Italo Calvino, among others, which is really interesting because for my in-person book club, I am going to be reading my first Italo Calvino book called The Castle of Crossed Destinies, which talks about like a journey influenced by tarot cards, and I am so excited for that one. He is a very, very prolific Italian author, and I live in Italy, and I would love to, at some point, eventually maybe get to the point of actually being able to read his books in Italian. But yeah, this book, Sphinx, is feminist, LGBT, and an experimental literary book, which just sounds really interesting because the author doesn't use any like gendered language, so I'm really interested in the experience of this book. The next class I have to take is Demonology, and the prompt for this is to read a book with a house on the cover. One of the only options I have in terms of my physical books is Catherine House, and there's technically not a house on the cover, but there technically is, because house is on the cover, you know? And this is a dark academia book, where people go to this like elite university and leave all of their belongings behind, but by the end of it, I think they're supposed to be a like genius. Actually, wait, I might be confusing that with The Center. I mean, I know that they definitely leave all of their shit behind, but what happens after that, I don't know. But this is one that I've definitely been interested in for a long time. Other than that, I technically have The House on the Cerulean Sea, which would count like the best for this prompt, but I just don't know. I haven't really been feeling called to this book as much from since I bought it, which was I think in 2022. And I don't know. I don't really think that I'm feeling this one. So other than that, like, I have quite a few books with buildings on the cover that could be houses. Like, they don't technically look like a single house, but you know, like, apartments are still people's houses, like, they're people's homes. I would really be stretching it for that, but I think coming to a compromise. If not this one, then what I think I would want to choose for this prompt is actually City of Spells by Alexandra Christo. This is the second book in the series, where the first book is called Into the Crooked Place. I read this last year, and it's just a duology, so I would be finishing a series finally. And the cover for the version that I have downloaded has houses on the cover. So I think this one counts. I don't know if it's kind of frustrating for you guys, the fact that I'm like saying so many options for literally every single prompt. But it's, you know, but I'm the one who's going to be reading these things, so I want to give myself, you know, options, because I don't know if I'm entirely more of a mood reader or a TBR reader. So I like to have a TBR that's pretty open, so that I can mood read them, you know? So those are all the classes for the Mindmender calling, and now introducing the classes for the Excavationist calling, which there are only 4, and one of them overlaps, so that would be pretty easy for me, I would say, I hope. So the overlapping class is Restoration, which is the 5-star recommendation. So for that one, again, it would be Sphinx by Anne Garetta. So the next class is Animal Studies, and the prompt for this is just wolves. Just read a book that has wolves on the cover in the title or inside the story. So if you are looking for any recommendations for this prompt, or if you just want to know some extra options, here are 3. We have Black Leopard Red Wolf by Marlon James. We have The Wolf of Orignaro by K.S. Veloso, and then we also have The Justice of Kings, which the series is called Empire of the Wolf, and there is wolves. But the one that I am placing for this TBR, because my god, if I do not finish this book this year. Once again, God's Grave by J. Christoph. You might be wondering, what? How? Well, there is a wolf in this book who is a very important character. I think its name is Shadow. I might be making that up, but I'm pretty sure its name is Shadow. Eclipse. Oh my god, I'm such an idiot. In this book, we are introduced to Mia's kind of familiar, which is a shadow cat named Mr. Kindly, and eventually we also meet a shadow wolf called Eclipse, and so I have no doubt that Eclipse is going to have a much bigger role in God's Grave, and so I am definitely counting it for this wolf prompt. The next class is Conjuration, and for this the prompt is to read the first enticing book you see on social media. So not just a social media scroll and you see the first book on your TBR, but the first one that is actually enticing to you. And when I tell you I had to scroll for so long, I went through Pagebound as well as Storygraph. I mostly am going to count Pagebound because this one is more of like a social platform where you can actually have more like conversations with friends based on the books that you read. And I wasn't gonna expose you guys to my Instagram feed, so the overwhelming majority of like the books that I saw while scrolling was of course Dungeon Crawler Carl. And this is one that I have been interested in for years, since I saw Andrew Watson talking about it, like way before it got traditionally published and before the last couple books have been released. And I'm genuinely mad because I feel like the traditional publishers really did a disservice for the covers. I think the new covers are ugly as fuck. And it really does a disservice to the original artist, because I think the original art for the indie versions are fucking gorgeous and so much fun and really shows a lot more personality of the book, and for that to be taken away is just criminal. criminal, and I'm mad. And I know everyone says that you should read the audiobook or you should listen to the audiobook, but I'm pretty sure it's an Audible exclusive. And I'm not gonna get an Audible account just to read that. I thought that it would be on Everand, but alas, it is not. So, I don't know, this might have to be one that I physically read if I don't cave and just try an Audible trial, but we'll see. Finally, the last class for the excavationist is lore, and the prompt for this is to read a dystopia or utopia. And there are a few options I was interested in for this prompt. One of them that I've mentioned multiple times is 1984, but again, this would be something that I want to start but go through much slowly. I couldn't really see myself finishing this just in 1 month, especially because I would love to do a dedicated reading vlog to this, and because this is a version that that also has like extra like activities. So I really just want to take my time with that and maybe actually like do some of the activities. But what I do have is an author that is very well renowned within the space, and I have not read any of her books yet. Ursula K. Le Guin. I have The Lathe of Heaven. This is like a super old, gorgeous copy that my dad had, and so this one sounds super fucking interesting. This is about someone named George whose dreams change the world, and so someone is trying to manipulate him in order like to make him dream up certain things in order to create a utopia. But I think nothing is ever just stays a utopia, especially because under the circumstances of like manipulation and, you know, forcing him to dream these certain things are all, you know, would be considered under the control of just like one person, which, you know, we don't like a monopoly of power. So this one would be really interesting and a nice, sweet, short read. The font is fucking tiny, but there's like no margins, but you know, it's still a pretty short book. Some other ones that I might be interested in are Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. I also haven't read anything by this author, but there are quite a few books in his catalog that I have my eye on. Some more modern dystopian books are Chain Gang All-Stars, which I started reading this last year, I think, or the year before, but I wasn't really paying as much attention as I needed to. If it's something that I would definitely love to come back to and give more of my like undivided attention to. I am very passionate about the topic of the prison system, and especially in America that is just a slavery system, and I think it's really interesting to see a modern book talking about the exploitations of the prison system and how it's being exploited for the public people's pleasure, because this is a book that it televises prisoners fighting against each other, and I just find that so interesting. Another one is Womb City, and this is very like sci-fi dystopian where I don't think people have like natural births anymore, and babies are created in chambers, and I think this is like a mother fighting to protect her child, but I could be misremembering that completely. But I know that this is something that sounded super interesting to me. And I've never read The Hunger Games or Maze Runner or any of those other teen dystopian books like Matched or Red Queen or anything. I never read those, and so I don't really see myself reading those now. Even though I hear that The Hunger Games is still really good and it still holds up, etc., but I just don't really see myself reading that anytime soon. But I would still really love more like book recommendations like that. I feel like a lot of these books more so go under the scope of like sci-fi rather than dystopian or fantasy, but I would like more books that are more specifically dystopian that have that same kind of vibe. I don't know. I feel like the lines are kind of blurry when it comes to those genres, which makes sense, of course, but I don't know, I would still like to see if there's other recommendations kind of within the same vibes of like The Hunger Games, but which isn't The Hunger Games. So if you have recommendations for that. So I would say that these are my potentials for the readathon, And it's already quite ambitious because if you saw my TBR for March, I had many physical books on my TBR and I've only really been able to get through one of them. So I love that. I've really been relying on audiobooks this month, especially because I've been doing a lot more like creative projects that require my like eyes and my hands. So we'll see what I can achieve next month. I really hope I can do it. And I'm really hoping to find better like reading habits so that I can actually dedicate more time to this and get through more. So we'll see. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, please leave a wolf emoji. Or let me know if you are participating in the Magical Readathon. Tell me about your character, tell me about which calling you chose, and what you're excited to read this month. And you can hit the subscribe button. It is free. It helps out a little content creator like me. I hope you are picking up books which are 5-star reads and actually prioritizing the books that you want to read. I hope you have the most amazing day ever. Bye!